Discord up. I got Twitch. Okay.
Data bits are going out for everybody who is interested in catching a live recording of Linux Weekly Daily Wednesday. Because that's what we do on Wednesdays. It seems like it's a good idea. We should get together and say the things. What do we got for everybody tonight? A little bit of AI. A little bit, but the good kind of AI, not the evil AI overlord. So if you were hoping for doom, well, you know, this is not where you want to be. Lossless cutting, video chopping the ends off without having to break out a non-linear video editor. I'm going to tell you how to do that.
Yeah. Got
a new version of Firefox, and of course, Linux is really cool at doing stuff. We know that, but we're going to make some use of it with discontinued hardware. I'm going to have a little talk because I released the video for that format converter just a few minutes ago. And Jill's going to tell you about a Raspberry Pi update. Because they updated Raspberry Pi. There's a connection there, I promise.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. What's going on?
Hi,
yes.
Illegally blind.
We got that. Got quite the show. I was just telling Jill. Here's what happens when you release, you push out something. There's a couple of components to... Doing the podcast is even worse. There's a lot of moving parts for a podcast.
Yeah.
But when I do something, let's say for like interfacing Linux, I push that out. You know, video's been done. It's been up for a week. And I've been writing on it. Everything looks good. Got to get that. Make sure everything's linked together. Got to push out the website. Got to push out the video. Got to do the social media. Then you start finding... oh, typos, links, things not working right. So there's always like 45 minutes of like triage, which is fun and interesting every single time. Then, you know, a week later, you'll spot a typo that you've somehow missed over the last month. Like, what?
Yeah.
You don't feel too bad because nobody else saw it either. They'd be like, there's a typo, right? I'm like, yeah, thank you. If you see typos, let me know what's going on, everybody. Middle of the week, plenty of stuff to talk about.
Hi, Mir. Oh, I just noticed that Mir has a train as an icon on Twitch.
You don't have a train on your Twitch yet?
No.
What do you get against trains?
But I like that. I need to change the icon I use is the one from TwitchCon from years ago.
Back in 1487.
Yeah. 2017 now. Can you believe that? Hi, Happy Cube. Hi, my friend Chad. Hi, Basil _
All right, so we got about 8 minutes before go time. We're going to be sticking toward our clock today, everybody.
Okay. I'll be right back.
I need to close down all the social media stuff. So much of it. It was part of the hype train. Oh yeah, we other Basil. We were doing the after show on Saturday, and I don't even remember what we were on about. You know, as we do, we just get tied into some other side conversation, and you know, somebody subscribed on Twitch, and Twitch was like, "Oh, you almost got a hype train." You know that like the gotcha game that Twitch has. And on the chat, I don't know if it shows like for chat for you at home, it starts animating and just going crazy. And we're like, oh, right. Then like Basil's like, here's a hype train. And we did the hype train thing. I'm like, it was so memorable. I don't remember what came of it. I don't even really know what a hype train is. I was in a way to try to extort money out of listeners. And I'm like, nah. But apparently you get a badge for a hype train, which is kind of cool. But I want you to stick around today because we are going to be talking about this guy. I just published this article. Can you see that? That is a piece of broadcast hardware. Because people love to take old computers and stuff like that, and we put Linux on them when we repurpose. I'm like, well, let's try that with like some real stuff. I'm like, professional things. We're gonna try that out. Got the full write-up published along with a video. And I even have images what's under this heatsink and whatnot. It's kind of terrifying. Not really. I was highly disappointed when I took off that heatsink. Like, what's going to be under this thing? Not much, turns out. Not much. Has anything, I didn't even check, man. I've been busy this morning. Getting that article out. Getting things published. I pulled the trigger on a big WordPress upgrade. Don't you love it when this happens, though? When you're just straight up dreading something. I was a WordPress install for Linux Gamecast. It wasn't out of date, but I was running the old version, like basically like the LTS version of WordPress. If you're unfamiliar with it, it wasn't the latest and greatest, not by a long shot. And I'm like, oh, I knew there were going to be some issues with like jQuery and these other, let's see what plugins are going to be incompatible. Got everything backed up, local database, site, plugins, got a cloud backup on top of that, did an incremental backup to another offsite. Not even a blip. Not even a blip. Just right to it. I'm going to say that's more blind luck than anything else, considering it's WordPress, but you ever get a little disappointed when you're just ready? You're ready for war. I guess that's how it works out, though. When you cleared off time, and you're like, okay, I got the rest of this afternoon to take care of this, because this is going to be a bit of chaos. And it's like, nah, all right, it's fine. I don't know what to do with myself. I did not. There we go. Oh, they're making a comic? For Team Fortress 2? We talked about that, man. I guess we all remember Team Fortress 2, right? Like, you have to know, it was the orange box. It was from Valve. Infested with bots for the past decade plus. Valve finally did something, and you read through the guide of, like, I've been banned. And every sentence starts off the, Q answer starts off with no, period. Every single one of them, all the way down. My account's gone, man. Like, whoever wrote that was mad. I appreciate it. I really liked it. Hello, Namava. Oh, yeah. Like, people... If you're running aim and cheat bots online, dude, like, get wrecked. I have no love for you. You want to, F around? Find out. That's the way I feel about it. You want to run cheat engines and stuff on your local instance? You guys want to do it, like, in-game with each other? Everybody knows? Go for it. But there was nothing, it wasn't such an issue back in the day, in my FPS days, when I still had the skills and ability to sit and do the click on the heads. There wasn't really much of a problem with aimbotting. It was more of a curiosity, and it was something that we would just blindly accuse good players of, right? Because it felt better than admitting that, well, I'm not that good. But now it's a real issue. It's been a real issue for a long time. Kinda glad I'm not hooked on FPSs like I was. I mean, some people just want to win by any means necessary. Which, you get to do you. You get to do you. But, like, if you're messing up, like, PvP stuff, like, stop. Just stop. Like, you don't want to mess up somebody else's enjoyment. Why? So you can get the numbers to roll over on your screen? Like, come on, man. You know that attitude, like, drips out into the regular life, too, right? I don't know, like cheats and mods and stuff. I love mods. We talked about that on Saturday. Nexus Mod releasing a client for Linux that you can download. I was more entertained by, like, the Nexus Mod hate that started showing up. Like, oh, Nexus Mod sucks. I'm like, get out of here. Get out of here. Like, always want to be upset with them. I don't know. No, like, I don't know. Does Nexus Mods punch kittens? If the answer to that is no, then I'm not worried about it. That is where I'm at with it. All right, we should be about ready.
Okay.
To get going here. I remember watermarking images back in the day.
Oh, yeah. That was a thing.
People still do it. They still do it. I've always taken more joy of removing a watermark. I've definitely done not even to publish it or use it in any way. It's like, oh, they think they're being creative with it. Because you'll see like watermarks that are just so obtrusive that you can't even really make out what's going on there. And you're like, watch this. Crack open gun. Take about 2 or 3 minutes on it and you're like, can't even tell what was there. Why'd you even bother? I don't see that. There's been one occasion of somebody like just straight up, now everything I put on Linux Gamecast is Creative Commons share alike, non-commercial. So you can copy and paste anything and just post it on your own website as long as you don't have ads around it. I won't say a word to you because everything's released. Same thing with the video, same thing with this podcast. Copy it, put it up on your own thing. Just don't put ads on it. Modify it. Do whatever you need to. But I ran into one person, this has been a couple of months back, might have been last year, that was, and it wasn't just me. I felt special for a minute until I realized that's all that their blog was. We're just going to tech sites and, Control A, Control C, Control V, and just wholesale. And they were doing it at such a point. The reason I found it is because I was going through the analytics and I saw that there was a link from this site. And I'm like, to another page. And I'm like, what? Why are some blogs? And I'm always curious, I'm not nosy, but I'm like, let's see what they were talking about. And I went there and I'm like, they didn't even take out the link. That link back to the site.
Oh boy.
And then I was just mad because they were lazy. And it was on a Google blog, man. I went to the little thing and I'm like, yo, this is my content. And Google took it out. Oh, there we go. All right, we got some drinks. What are you drinking, Jill? Whiskey?
Oh, no. Just water and my little strawberry. So cute.
I got my little strawberry. My 2-liter keg.
Yeah. No, mine's tiny compared to yours.
Got my home defense straw, my stainless steel straw.
Yeah, you do.
You got to keep your straws clean. People are, you never think of it like once a week, man, because when I first got these, I never thought about it, right? Because, you take a straw, you use it, and you toss it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't think twice about it. And I bought these, and I'm like, oh, those are cool, stainless steel straws, and I'll just always have a good straw. Used it for probably like a month, maybe 2 months, and I don't ever drink anything but like the just water with the crystal light, water flavoring stuff in it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it came with a cleaner, and I'm like, I just wanted to use the cleaner. I didn't think it was going to be dirty, man. I'm like, I just wanted an excuse to use, put it through. And I was like, oh, it was nasty. It was nasty. It was not good. And I was rinsing it out too. Like, no,
it just wasn't getting in the.
You had to get in there and scrub. Tube. And since then, we've gotten on a weekly straw cleaning.
Yeah. Aw, Strider.
Tequila's water, vodka, sports water. Yeah, like whatever you want to, we all have our pet names for our ethanol. Can't be judgy about that. Okay. I think we're good. Let's get to going. Do I have too much stuff open? No, I don't think so. Maybe. We'll find out. Let's reset the graph. There we go. We can do the big red button. As the room expands and collects, because I get it as cold as possible in here before we do a show.
Oh, yeah.
I cut on the central AC, I cut on the window unit in here, and I shut the doors, and I'm just like turned into an ice cube. That's what you're hearing when the clicks and pops. This is the house warming back up. I'm going to pay for that one day. It's going to crack something. With the expansion.
Yeah.
All right. Boop and boop. We're recording. All right. Let's check our shots real quick.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Joe.
Mm-hmm.
There's a me. There's a two of us. And that's a browser shot. Look at that. We've scienced that potato. Cool. Now all we need to do is we're going to take another sip of our not alcohol.
Yes. I guess I should have put my strawberry milk tea in here, but no, I usually use water during the show, but occasionally I have milk tea. It would be appropriate to have my pink milk tea in there.
I like to drink fizzy drink, like a diet soda of some kind, but I'll drink too much of it doing a show.
Yeah.
I'll be like, trying to hold in all of the gases that want to escape. I'm like, all right. So we've settled on this, unless it's nice and proper outside cold where I can have some hot tea, and I'm like, I'll take the tea. See Steve.
Tea time.
All right, everybody. Audio, we do that. Then we get up here to the top and we hit boop. And then we go to that. And I do have the audio wired back up for if you're in Discord. Like, I don't know how you would hear this, but maybe you're listening, the uncut version. If it took me a while because I changed some things around, or we get the live audio going through the live channel on Wednesdays again. If you're like Twitch is blocked or whatever, and you want to listen to the live stream, or you want to listen to it like on the sly, or like, there we go.
Yeah.
Unless
and
you're
in real time.
Oh no, I'm going to delay it for a week. She's going to show up. All right, everybody, let's do this. Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to another weekly Daily Wednesdays. Plenty of stuff to talk about. Yes, that's right. Yeah. With our fellow Linux-loving miscreants and open source enthusiasts. Yeah. I'm Vin. That's Jill. We were just talking in the pre-show about sending out audio data bits and all types of other crazy things. Go back and listen to the uncut version, because it takes us like, 20, 30 minutes to make one of these shows. We're usually here for an hour, or just tune in live every week here on Twitch. Links in the description. But what do we got this week? We're going to be talking about AI, the good kind of AI. Not the T800. No, not the T1000. The kind that's kind of useful. And chopping the ends off videos made really, really, really easy. New version of Firefox. I'm going to be talking about this guy if you want to stick around. Remember that sound card with a big heatsink on it?
Yeah. Look at that.
I got it. I finished it. There's a video and a write-up about it. And of course, a new update for the Raspberry Pi OS. But first, Jill Brighton, have you been up to anything? Did you just stay there since last week when we said goodbye and you've been waiting? Steve has been patiently bringing you water.
Yeah, and food, probably, hopefully. So no, we actually had a really fun time playing the Trackmania maps on yesterday's Trackmania stream. They were both fun and challenging. Got some good ones in there, Ben, this week. We all had fun.
They're not hard, but we were at the point now, and I think Bodhi joined in last night too. It's always good when somebody gets changed. Like, I was only able to get in for 10 minutes. That's great. Server is always up 24/7. Tuesdays we get together. 10 new maps. We're doing maps from 2013. It's a weird sell, because Trackmania is a strange game. It never got a lot of traction in North America. A lot of people have already glossed over, like, I've never even heard of this. Big in the EU. And it's a racing game if you want it to be, but it's also a puzzle game if you want it to be. And we definitely lean more into the puzzle aspect of it, and it's a good community. Come join us. All the information, if you're a Twitch sub or patron, link it up to our Discord, get the launch codes. Come hang out with us. And you don't have to chat with us on Discord, but we're there if you want to. We'd love to have you. And we'll be back doing that Friday at 7:30 p.m. A bit later on Fridays, just to give people a chance to, with different schedules. Yeah. So, you know what I've been doing with AI?
What then?
The past couple of days, Jill. I've been blocking it. I've been telling it no. I've been putting my staff down going, you shall not pass. I have.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity. Because Cloudflare, I use Cloudflare as one of my CDNs. It used to be in the web application firewall. You could set up a rule to kind of block AI scrapers. It was one of those things, man. I'm like, I'll get around to doing that one day. Never did. Never did. They finally just made it a toggle button. I'm like, that's my type of lazy right there. Click. Let's see what happens. Just out of curiosity. And I set it and forgot it. And later on, I'm thinking I should probably go check and see if we got any hits. And we got some hits. Nice. Getting hammered by Microsoft. Microsoft and OpenAI really want to get into interfacinglinux.com.
That's interesting.
I mean, just Cloudflare's going, nay, be gone. I'm like, all right, that's it. It's pretty cool. Amazon's just as bad. I even posted and they're hitting it in blocks. Amazon, I don't know if it was Amazon or somebody just using AWS. Let's be real. Just trying to scrape it hard to get those answers. Amazon didn't care about. All of it's blocked. Microsoft, I had a good laugh at, though. Why did I have a good laugh at Microsoft? Well, if you happen to use Bing and you Bing interfacing Linux, Bing has yet, after 6 months, to bless my website with indexing. It's not there. Doesn't exist on Bing. If you're looking for something on Bing, audio, video production, stuff that I've written over the years that only exist in one place, you're not going to find it on Bing. Who cares, Vin? It's Bing. You're like, you know what? You're right. I don't really care about Bing. Nor do most people listening here. I do care about DuckDuckGo, though.
Yes. There you go.
Which effectively just relies on Bing. Now, DuckDuckGo does a little bit better. It actually found the Interfacing Linux YouTube channel. But since they source everything from Bing, there's no link to the website. There's no information here. If you do a search for anything on Interfacing Linux, you're just not going to find it. It's kind of wild. That's not good. So I found it very ironic. And of course, if you go to Big Evil Google, it's just right there. There's everything. It's fully indexed. I found it very laughable that Microsoft is not indexing Interfacing Linux, but it desperately wants to trade its AI on the data.
Yeah,
get wrecked, Microsoft. Get absolutely wrecked. Also, you need to think about stuff like this when you're just using a single search engine like DuckDuckGo or Google or Bing. You need to get a second opinion sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
Think about that next time you're searching and you can't find anything. So there is that. So let's get into it. That's AI being amusing. Let's talk about some of the good things.
Yes.
Some of the good things that we can do with what passes for artificial intelligence, right? I want to tell you about Control Plus Revise because Turbo messed up and posted it in our Discord. In fact, I opened up our Discord a couple of days ago. And Turbo and that nutter who makes Lutris were just going at it, debugging issues with something.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's working on a new project. He is, man. And that's what it's called, Control Plus Revise. I have a programmer name, deal with it. I mean, that's what it says on the tin, right? It's designed to help you write more gooder. And I like this idea because I do a lot of writing, but most of it, in fairness, is technical documentation. That means, when I write an article or a script for a video, just a video, it becomes, you guessed it, technical documentation, which is kind of boring, kind of dry to listen to or read. And the one use that I found for what passes for artificial intelligence in 2024, aside from making really creepy photos with too many fingers, that's very entertaining, is feeding a block of text that I've written and just seeing what type of hot take the language model comes up with. And it's usually not terribly useful, but I'm going to say I don't think it's ever given me anything that I would even remotely consider copy pasta and be like, oh, that's great, we're just going to put that in there. But what it's good at is rephrasing things and mangling things where I can see that it's kind of like having a writing partner. You're like, I don't like what you said, but I liked how you said it, if that makes sense. I'm like, I might be able to run with what you were just putting down. So this, if you don't want to use, cloud hosted stuff that's going to mind your data, the important thing is this is all locally hosted. This is something you can run yourself. This Wordsmith even functions as a desktop application. Right? Why? Because there's screenshots. That's how you know. Sign of a good product right there. You really do. You highlight some text, you tap on a button, it recombobulates everything, and it adds it to your clipboard so you can paste it out and maybe take an idea. You probably don't want to just paste whatever that. And it works with AMD, NVIDIA, and again, stress this enough, it runs locally. So if you want to go hammer on that, there'll be a link to everything in the show notes over at linuxthemecast.com. Joe, you actually got a chance to play around with it, right?
Yeah, so I actually didn't get it to Control plus Revise to fully work, but I did get it to launch, but then it stalls. But it is a beta, and Turbo did say it wouldn't work for everyone. But I will continue to work on it. I believe it has something to do with the Olama LLMs I had loaded. So, and I know Turbo and Strider, like Ven was saying, we're talking about it in chat because Strider had some issues and they were debugging back and forth. So I will talk to Turbo as well, and I'm sure I will get that fixed. And I just want to thank you, Turbo, also for the screen reader support. I thought that was brilliant, and I look forward to playing with it when it's fully functional on my machine. And this is really, a brilliant project that fills a need and is a great use of AI. Absolutely. This is what we need AI for.
AI
Not
is
for
going
the silly
to be
stuff.
Hey, no. I'm not going to be giving up my too many fingers on my people that look weird. I enjoy that. That's too hilarious to get rid of. But this is all done locally. This is, it's going to become a commodity. It's going to get simpler. It's very quickly no longer becoming the realm of nerds.
Yeah.
People who are going to set this stuff up at home. It's going to get to the point of not only can you do it locally, you'll be able to do it locally easily. This is going to get flat packed, this particular project eventually, allegedly. So, and it does work with Wayland. That's been taken care of. I think that was one of the things Strider and Turbo were hammering out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Go play with it. You never think, having a second opinion of maybe I need to tone that down a little bit. And let me just highlight that. I'm going to copy it, take a look at it. It could be of use. Good job. Have fun with it. And it is in beta. Keep that in mind. If you have issues, report it on the GitHub issue tracker. All right. Up next was a question that I got earlier this week. Technically late last week. It was on Sunday. Whatever. Sunday's kind of a flux day. It doesn't exist for me. I'm in a fugue state. Then I need to chop the ends off this. I'm like, are you still running Linux? Yes. Seriously? Yes, I am. I promise. I'm like, okay. What's a good way to chop the ends off a video? Doesn't need to edit. Doesn't need to add, text. I just need to chop the ends off. And that's something you probably heard yourself at home, or you thought to yourself, I just need to, what's that mean? You got a video that's almost perfect. It's ready to go. Maybe I need to trim it a little bit from the beginning. Maybe something in the middle I didn't quite want in the video. Or just right at the end when I was like, hey, look, there are my feet because I didn't stop recording. You want to get rid of that. No fancy edits, no special effects, nothing. Just chop all the way down.
Yeah.
I knew there was a tool for this. Now, I was thinking, my first thing is hey, you can do this with FFmpeg. And I'm like, immediately would have lost the dude. That's never the answer. Lossless cut. Not only is it still around, it has gotten fancy. This is another attempt to put a cozy, warm, loving GUI on top of the mangled beast that is FFmpeg. And for the most part, it does a good job. It really does. You can chop out commercials, add video from multiple sources, rearrange the segments, and more. And it does all of this, very importantly, without affecting your video quality by default. So you don't have to worry about, things get more pixelated, more crunched. And yes, I know you can do all this with Kdenlive Live, OpenShot, DaVinci Resolve, lossless cut. It's got this one superpower. None of those have. It's dead simple. It's absolutely simple. Because 99% of the time, you don't need to bring a full video editor into the relationship.
Yeah.
And it really reminds me of a very, very important piece of software that we all tend to forget about. Even I had used it at one point and played around with it. And I'm talking about Windows Movie Maker.
Mm-hmm.
How many people got their start because I want to edit this thing? Oh, look, this is easy and intuitive. I just clip. Then what happens? And they go, well, I need to do more. Then their journey begins. And it's awesome. You need that little piece of software to get people like quick, immediate results. If they just need that, they're good with that. But something that they can grow from. This nails it. This is like a jazzed up version of Windows Movie Maker. And I absolutely just mean that as a compliment. It's got an app image, downloaded it, chmodded, just worked. Dragged in a video, looked at it. Now, it took me a minute to get my brain focused on how would, I don't like using the word normie, but that's a app description, go about doing this. Where would they think the stuff would be? And it does have an advanced mode, don't worry about it. It does have options to transcode this stuff out into formats for YouTube, TikTok. And then after you do it, you don't end up like this big chunky lossless video. And it did a really good job. It likes to juggle a lot though, Jill.
Yeah.
It wiggles and jiggles. You open up a menu, it's going to give you some jiggle.
Yeah. But
what do you think about it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's so many more menus and settings in the program since I used it back in 2017 or 2018. Me and Ven were talking about that before the show started. And it was even, I had less configuration options than it does now. And I was impressed with how well it worked back then, but now it's even better. And this time I actually downloaded the handy flat pack over at flathub.org and the app image. And they both let me edit.
Could you? It's got a snap right here, Jill.
It's got a snap as well,
I'm going to tell on you. Mark, I'm going to send you an email.
Oh, so I had fun playing around and editing Big Buck Bunny and doing some quick edits and quickly getting those rendered and the cuts seamlessly edited. And I want to point out one of the wonderful advantages of this kind of application is it's not having to retranscode or compress the files as it renders them out. It's keeping them as raw as possible.
Which means they're going to be ginormous.
Yes, which is a good thing if you need speed.
And also something you need to be aware of. How come your little 4 meg funny clip turned into 6 gigs?
Yes.
You're like, oh. So pay attention to those transcode options because you don't want to save that and you don't want to be trying to upload 6 gig, 30-second clip to YouTube. You want to make sure you get that converted back out to where you can distribute it.
Yeah, absolutely. And another cool thing is it has an easy frame capture button to capture still from a video using a JPEG, PNG, or WebP file format. And I've used that on multiple occasions with this application. So that's a nice feature, just really quick and easy to do it. And just click a button, basically. And it's really come a long way, this project. I was so happy to see that it's still around. And you can actually donate to the project via PayPal, Open Collective, via Patreon, Stripe, or GitHub sponsors. And make sure to go and give this developer a few bucks to keep it going. It's great.
And you might be wondering, like, well, yes, it'll support any video you throw at it. It runs on top of FFmpeg.
Yeah.
You're good.
Absolutely.
You don't have to worry about it. It's there. It's easy to install. There's an app image. There's a snap. Did you say there was a Flatpak?
Yep, there sure is. And that ran just fine.
So, yeah, get it. Have it there. It's a handy tool. Even if you use something like KDN Live, like, I guarantee you, if we just need to like trim off 30 seconds from a video, I'll beat you with this 100% of the time, no matter what editor you use. Like, even, I live in DaVinci Resolve. This is still a great tool to add to your arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There we go. Now, Firefox. Oh, they've got a new update. Did they add more AI?
Actually, a little bit, but I don't talk about that in this one because it's not that part isn't as important to me because we've talked about it in the past. But anyways, so Firefox 128 was just released, and it has some really cool new features. And I'm just kind of gonna go through the ones that are my favorite. One of my favorites is now you can translate just a selection of text instead of the whole page, which is awesome. And as a result, it's so much quicker because you can just select out the text that you want to translate, and it doesn't have to sit there and plow through the whole page. So an option has been added to the right-click menu to translate text selection, and then a window pops up with the translation of the selected text in your desired language. So it's just really easy and sweet to use. And why didn't anyone else think of that? This is perfect. Mozilla Firefox, perfect. And there is a new unified clear user data dialog that is more streamlined to clear cookies, search history, and media cache, etc., etc. And it is the same dialog that pops up in both the hamburger menu and settings. So they unified it, made it cleaner and easier to use. And also now, when you are in private browsing mode, Firefox will play back protected content from Netflix, woohoo, and other streaming sites. So that's been a feature a lot of us have been wanting because I do a lot of private browsing on Firefox. So I was really happy to hear this. And something also that is needed, as stated on the Firefox release notes blog, Firefox now proxies DNS by default when using SOX version 5, avoiding leaking DNS queries to the network when using SOX v5 proxies. So in other words, it makes things faster when surfing the internet. So that was really, really great news. And if you want to read more about the new features and check out our show notes and the link in the show notes, and go grab Firefox 128 from your Linux distributions repository, or just download it as a tarball from the official Mozilla website.
I'm sure there's 2 or 3 people that still, even I have a deb repo for Firefox nightly set up. Yes. I wonder how many people still, very, very few programs. That used to be the norm in the day, was going out to websites. Now, as Windows users call that, that's how you install stuff. You got to go to the website. When, how many times have I seen, I bought an audio interface. I went to the audio interfaces and I was looking for drivers. I'm like, why would you do that? That's so silly. It should be built into the operating system. Windows habits. Ow.
No. Oh, you know what? Strider just asked in chat, who downloads the tarball of Firefox? Well, I did, especially on Debian back in the day when I wanted to update Firefox.
On a modern system.
Yeah, it's
we don't
a
have to worry
easier now.
We don't really have to worry about that so much, which is pretty nice. Now, before app, before RPMs, before repositories, we had to do this on Linux too. There was no central place to get it. You were going to FTP sites, places that you can't even hit with a modern browser these days. You try to get on FTPs, like FTP is not supported. Get out of here with your weird moon glyphs. And you're like, fine, all right, get.
Yeah.
Or however you want to go about getting it. But very, very nice to see. And like, I don't use before that I did download the Firefox tar because I'm on Debian.
Yeah.
And the only Firefox that you get is the ESR.
Yeah, exactly.
which is old, even from my standards. So, yeah, and we talked about it on the show, like, even for Debian, they have a nightly repo, which I'm like,
yay.
Give me some of that, and I'll try it out. Let me know in the comments, do you still, or are you just like, no, I only download from websites, period. I don't use system updates, and everything's horribly outdated on my entire system because reasons, and somehow, I don't know. You know you're out there. I want to hear from you. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to talk about something Linux has been doing before you even knew what a Linux was. Keeping hardware that has been deemed obsolete out of landfills. It's great at that. It's wonderful at that. It's one of Linux's superpowers that we don't talk about very often. Why? Because it's you don't get the pats on the head for installing Ubuntu. I don't know, man. I think it's the coolest thing Linux has done. And I talk about it pretty often because hardware gets reverse engineered or drivers get open sourced. And that means it can continue being supported long after the manufacturer decides they don't want to support it anymore. Why? Because they got the new shiny keys that you need to go buy that. So we're going to drop support of the old one. Now go buy the new one. And you can go, nay. Works just fine under Linux. Keeping with this theme. Now, we're probably more familiar with taking old server hardware, right? And we take it, we put Linux on it, and we make some use out of it. Like, maybe we can try another take at this. Maybe there's another angle to go at this. I was like, there's been a piece of broadcast hardware that I've wanted to pick up since 2010. And that like, what was 2010? That's been like, what, 5-6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And I finally got my hands on one. That's the ASI 5211. Dude, this thing does some really cool party tricks on paper. I remember the first time I saw this, I think it was at NAB, National Association of Broadcasters. I was like, oh, I want one of those in my system. Why would you want a sound card in your system? Even in 2010, Vin, it's crazy. That's not a headphone. That's a microphone preamp. You just plug a microphone in here, you're good to go. This thing's got a 60 dB preamp built right into it. You don't have to worry about it. You just click it right in the back and you're done. And it's got onboard DSP. It's got a full-blown equalizer built into it. It's got a noise gate. It's got a compander. I didn't misspeak. Companders are real, and yes, they can hurt you. Go look up what they are.
Does it have an expander?
That is what a compander is.
Yes, that's what I thought.
It's half of a compressor, half of an expander. Yeah. Now, to put it simply, that's going to be used for leveling out voices, which would be great in a streaming rig. Now what, Ned? It'd be wonderful. It's got all these ins and outs, and what got my attention even way back then, back in 2010, is when you went over to Audio Science's website, they had Linux drivers. I'm like, oh, that's going to be awesome. This thing was like $700-800. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm going to use my superpower, patience. Enter 2024, and here we are. I got the video stuck together. It's about 11 minutes long, but I walk you through this really cool, really fascinating piece of broadcast hardware, but it is broadcast hardware. What does that mean? Well, that means it's going to be fussy. It's not going to work with a lot of stuff. The documentation is just going to be bad. Questionable on a good day, bad most of the time, and usually just outright wrong. And the software that you use with it, to interface with it, is going to look like it's out of the 90s. But it's such a cool format converter. And this is what was driving a lot of radio stations and broadcast facilities when these things were in use. Now, they've recently been discontinued. Look, you see that jumper? Yeah, you can put 4 of these in one system. No problem. Like, they do weird tricks like that, stuff that you wouldn't even think about. But what does it take to get one of these critters up and working on Linux? Well, you're going to need firmware, you're going to need kernels, and no small amount of luck. And that's what I went through. That was my little nod to LGR right there. Because he likes to rub on stuff and make noises. I think it's adorable. Yeah. So what really started out as like morbid curiosity for me quickly turned into just a straight up war of attrition. I've had this thing for a month, and it was like, oh, that'd be cool. Pop it in, make it work, do a little video. Quickly turned into, I'm going to make you work. I don't care. There's no option B, only option V on this one. Because Oh, the only two things left standing when I got this up and working was Ubuntu LTS and elves. I'm not exaggerating. These are the two things that were required. But you can read my full adventure of going through this. Look at this software right here. That old school, ancient stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
Full write-up on it. Go check it out. Interfacinglinux.com. There's a video. Like and subscribe. Subscribe to Interfacing Linux YouTube if you get a chance. I originally started trying to get this up on Debian 12. Wasn't having it, but I took a different strategy. I was like, let's just go on this adventure. Let me show you, how do you read the tea leaves? How do you know what's missing firmware? How do you stick all this together? Where do you get firmware? How do you build firmware? How do you install firmware? What's also Mixer? What's QAS Mixer? This Jack thing, that's strange. Then you find out that the beta drivers are 2 years older than the official drivers. Then you find out inside the driver notes, which is different than on the actual page, that these devices have been discontinued, and even though it says they're not. Man, it's a trip. It's a trip. And of course, on Interfacing Linux, the biggest, most frequent comment, I'm like, why is there a ginormous heatsink on it? Well, I didn't do it in the video. But if you go to Interfacing Linux, you can find out what's hiding under that giant block of metal, because I wasn't going to just let that go. And of course, I tell you, even though this thing did not end up working for my particular use case, why was I interested? Because it's a PCI Express sound card, and I need low latency. I'm a low latency snob. It's in a different stratosphere compared to USB. USB is not even playing the same game as PCI Express. Thunderbolt's pretty close. It's not even there. But like USB, don't talk to me about low latency on USB. It's cute. You know, you want to go, you hug it and pat it on the head till it's doing a good job. But you're running into oddities. Oh, go check that out. There'll be a link in the description. Do you like playing around with stuff like this? Do you ever just see a piece of old hardware and you're like, I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder. Like, let me just pick this up. I do that every now and then. I'm like, I'm just going to order that and see if I can make it work. And turns out, even though this has been discontinued, it's still going to be powering, you know, people's ham shacks, low power radio stations, whatever they want to set up. Just chug it along until the end of days. Because one thing, like a lot of broadcasters, it's completely ridiculously over-engineered. Much like when I talk about Magewell equipment, ridiculously over-engineered. These things will outlive all of us. Much like any PCI Express card. Because we got a box of PCI Express cards somewhere in your house, or you have a drawer. They're not wrapped up. They're not taken care of. The ones that you don't like, the ones that you're never going to use, they're just bouncing around. Everyone on probably still works. Everyone probably still works. Such is the way of things. So, yeah, there it is. Go check it out. Go read about my adventures, and let me know what you think in the comments. Pretty cool. All right.
Oh, then next time you rub it, you got to make sure to put some fake wood grain on there. Then you can do the... you can have a legitimate LGR video.
I know. I thought about wrapping the power supply on the test bench in fake wood grain, so I can call it, because it's like a like a 1700 like first gen Ryzen. I was like, yeah, it's vintage. All right, deal with it.
Cool.
It was fun. Good times. I got plenty of stuff planned for Interfacing Linux. You can read more about that in the forums if you do have questions. And as I said, your information will not be scraped by OpenAI, at least, or whatever passes for Amazon and Google. There you go. What do we got before we get out of here? Raspberry Pi. I've completely forgotten Raspberry Pis existed, Joe, because now I got my Elite desk. And I'm like,
yes.
Man, I look at the Raspberry Pi, I'm like, I ain't got time for you.
Oh, poor little Pi. So a new version of the Debian Linux-based Raspberry Pi OS has been released with lots of new features and UI improvements. And one of my favorites is the panel and PC Man FM file manager now come with support for customizing more than 2 desktops. That's really great for those of you that like to run, you know, several virtual desktops at a time. And as an alternative to Wavefire, the Lab WC Wayland window stacking compositor can be customized and is now installed by default. LabWC Wayland can be enabled via the
I don't
Raspberry
like it. It looks too much like XFC. If I tried to use that, I'd just get mad.
It does actually,
It
Ben.
does.
It does.
It does. And I would expect
right.
it to operate, and it won't, then I'll be mad.
Yeah, it won't. Yeah, this is so true. So the LabWC Wayland actually can be enabled via the Raspberry config utility and has theme settings in the PixFlat theme. And this is something really awesome. The first run setup wizard PiWiz also lets you enable or disable the new Raspberry Pi Connect feature, which we have talked about here on LWDW number 429 just a few weeks ago. The Raspberry Pi Connect is really just an easy way to access your Raspberry Pi remotely via the web. And it was also added to the Raspberry config and RC GUI utilities, as well as the recommended software installer. So now it's been completely integrated in the system, which is awesome. And the Raspberry Pi OS 2024-0704 can be downloaded now using the Raspberry Pi Imager utility, as well as, of course, from the official Raspberry Pi website. So go update those Raspberry Pis. I need to update mine too, my Raspberry Pi 5.
I wonder how many people with Raspberry Pis take any time to ever update them.
Yeah, because a lot of them are used so much for embedded systems and mission critical, so those people
That's a polite way of saying I got one in a corner I put there 4 years ago and I never updated it. I'm like, no. See, it's embedded on the third shelf behind the DVD player.
Yeah.
Running my mission critical, whatever I don't know why, I forgot why I put it there, but it's still running. So, yeah. Log into your Pis, maybe give an update. I don't know. I'd be scared of it. I know when I had the Jitsi server running that Raspberry Pi, it was you do not update it. Why? Yeah. Because it would all break.
It'd break. Things break.
It was held together with.
And Artherin, otherwise known as Illegally Blind in chat, says, no need to update when you set up unattended upgrade.
Yes.
And that's true too.
If you have then you get to go find out why it's broken.
Yeah. Every time it updates.
Keep yourself updated. If it's web facing, do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
If you're going to be running something old, make sure it's LTS or something. I don't know. Like, I have fun with it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of Weekly Daily Wednesdays. As always, thanks for taking the time to listen to us, join us, watching us live. Plenty of places to catch what we're up to. If you want more, if you just listen to the podcast, you're like, I could use an hour of this, head over to Patreon. Patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. Get the live and uncut version. We got that out in the afternoon every single week. MP3. We got the videos up. We got a commercial-free version of the video. No ads. You can just download it, take it home. You can put it on your Raspberry Pi that's on the bottom shelf in the corner of your room. There, give it that use. It can store that one episode of Weekly Daily Wednesdays. Plus, you get to hop into our Discord where we're at the other 6 days of the week having rap sessions, and you too can watch Strider and Turbo fight and try to get his AI thing up and working. It's always fun. And of course, elderly entertainment with Trackmania on Tuesdays and Fridays, where us old people get together and we see if we can still get around tracks, and we tell the kids to get off our lawns, and it's always a fun time. Check that out, linuxgamecast.com/support. Got a bunch of stuff over there, including a merch store. We appreciate it. But until next week, get out there, get up to something nefarious, and let me know what it is. If it's really awesome, we'll probably talk about it. All right, Jill.
Yeah.
Time for some credits.
Yes. We have lots of patrons to thank, including our advisors, Omegas and Artherin. And our executive producers, Barbrandt, Scott M., Atomic, Mike G., Tomaz, David. Our Chicago Kicks people, Super Death Stout, Empty, Blasphemia. Sea Monsters, Truck Gills, Veritanuna, Justin, Hakeem, David, Darkwing, System T. Death Notes, Stephen B., Dirty Dean, Back Dodger, Rue, Turnover. Can't get through them all, I'm trying. Charlings, Douglas, Hitchcock, Mirror.
Douglas Charlings, a prolific author.
Yes.
Also, thanks to Mir and Basil and everybody dropped a Twitch sub.
Yes.
I want to thank Basil again for showing us what a hype train was, because we didn't know. Now we do.
Yeah.
You missed that in the after shows on Saturday. Bye, everybody. See you next week.
Chicago kicks people.
CKP. All right. There we go. How long was that? A little over 30. All right. That'll be all right when we get it trimmed down. Hooray is right.
I could say Chicago kicks donkeys.
What do you got against Chicago, and why do you think it's kicking people?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. You know, I've quit. Oh, what was it? Yeah, I posted that. There's a new. They're making a time bending series.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was telling Steve about that because you had posted it. I'm like, wow, that would actually be good. They have attempted that in the past, and it never quite took off. So I would like to see that. It looked really good, actually. I love the original movie a lot.
The original movie, like, I went back and watched the trailer for that. And I'm like, that still holds up, man. I don't know. We'll see what the series looks like. What is this? Steam Deck Gaming Hub? Let's have a look at this.
Yeah, I need to look at that. Steve has been if it was Terry Gilliam on the trailer. I didn't pay attention to that. He was asking me, and I didn't. I know some of the original people that worked on the original film are doing the show, but I didn't hear what the names were. Who it was. Actually, I'm going to go to YouTube right now and check.
Okay. Thumb, you're not doing a good job here explaining. Oh, get wrecked, Thumb. You know your site's sketchy as nonsense when you trigger you blocking your links, homie.
Oh boy.
It's probably going to be the same thing here. Nope, that's just self... Okay. You know what? Maybe Guru 3D does it. Oh, we'll get there eventually. I'm just trying to get to the product page to find out.
Well, here, I'll share it.
No, we're not going to link to the product page, are we? Jeez, people.
Here, Boo, I'll paste the link for the Time Bandits.
All right. Sebdent, how's your search? Pretty bad, huh? All right.
Bandit. IMDb. Okay, I'm going. Just says television adaptation of Terry Gilliam's 1981 film.
Yeah, I don't think Terry's involved in it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I got the cast list. Yeah, IMDb doesn't say. Oh yeah, Jermaine is in it. Yeah. Yeah, it's got a great cast.
Do they have a link to the Amazon page?
We're both looking at different things, Ben. That's kind of funny.
Trying to find this Amazon page or the something page for this. And I was not seeing it.
Oh, okay. Here's the series producers. Let's see.
Well, I will put this in the notes and do some researching on it. Might be something we put into this show on Saturday. I'll see if I can track it down.
Okay, yeah, that's...
Yeah, I vaguely remember watching the original Time Bandit, so you might notice from the trailer, everybody's a little bigger.
Yeah. Series art department, sound there it all is. I'm finding visual effects. Yeah, no.
What are you looking for?
Oh, Terry Gilliam has a... Yeah, because that was his film. The original one. So I'm just looking to see if he has any involvement at all. If he's even mentioned. Because I'm looking through all the cast and the crew. It's a lot of people to go through. Seriously?
Well, it said he walked off the set while filming the first episode.
Yeah, I saw somewhere where he said they're not short enough, the dwarves.
Terry Gilliam walked off the set of Taki Watiti's Time Bandits. It's currently when it was filming. He's got an executive producer credit on the Apple series. Decided he was supposed to be there for 2 weeks, but he left after 3 days. His disdain for the entire project was quite obvious. You probably won't be hearing any praises for this series from him anytime soon.
Oh, okay.
So, there we go. Problem solved.
Mm-hmm. No, boo. That doesn't mean it's not going to be good, but it's just sad that they didn't get his approval.
Oh, they got his approval.
Well, that's true. He was there for 2 days.
He got paid.
Yeah.
He took the money. So, I don't know. Like, who knows? Like, it could be like a dumpster fire. Like, I was really excited about Willow up until about, I don't know.
I know, like episode 3 or 4, it was just kind of boring.
I finished that first episode, and I'm like, I don't know what this is, dude. Like,
it got better. Like, the second and third episode were pretty good, but then by the fourth, I just wasn't interested anymore. It was kind of the same thing.
Probably just getting, I was like, oh, let's focus on teenagers. Like, I don't care what teenagers are up to. I want to see Warwick Davis go do wizard stuff. Like,
yeah.
Let's focus into that, man. Same thing I ran into when I was watching. I tried to watch like the Castlevania anime that they did on Netflix was really good. Then they made like part 2 with like, you know, like, oh, more of that from that same studio. And they're like, the first episode opened strong. Then it immediately like, and now we're going to focus on our 3 teenage protagonists. And I'm like, don't care. That was all I ever watched of that. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I get what they're going for, man. Like, I don't know. It's like you would think that some people have caught on, some people are not. Like, people watching cartoons that are watching stuff like on Netflix, like they're adult cartoons, man. Like adults, I don't care what your teenage protagonists are up to, man. We need old decrepit people complaining about weather. All right. Oh, that is together, and We got a question mark for that. And D8VK's been merged. Oh yeah, Twitch is they made a little oopsie earlier this week. I gotta see what's gonna come of that. We've talked about it. Is the enhanced broadcasting is now available to everybody. Yay! Oops, that's right. Sorry, we didn't mean to say that. OBS Studio is not out yet with that built in. Our bad. We'll let you know.
So funny.
Part of me believes this was a legitimate mistake, but a much larger part of me was this Twitch firing a shot at OBS. I'm like, y'all need to hurry up and get this done. We already paid you for it. So whenever this rolls out, this is going to be the funnest train wreck in slow motion to watch in the history of ever when it comes to broadcasting, because I've seen a couple of Twitch streamers attempt to explain what they think it is and how they'll be able to use it. None of them have a clue of what's going to go down. It is going to be such a technical S show. Oh, it's going to be fun to watch, man. This is going to become the much hated attempt. This is just for the Windows crowd, man. It's so bad how they've implemented. Instead of just giving people AV1 and 265 ingest, this is the most convoluted. This is the type of system I would have came up with if you would have said, all right, what's the dumbest idea you have to make this work and still pull this off? And we're like, oh, how many moving parts can we put into it? You know, instead of just sending them, they do the transcode and you're done with it. This is going to be you doing the transcoding for multiple streams locally and trying to figure this out with your bandwidth, and it's just going to be bad. It's going to be fun to watch. Oh yeah, dude, get your popcorn out. This is the reactions you're going to see from like larger streamers that don't realize what they're in for and how this is going to play out. Just watch them. They're going to be fed up with it instantaneously because their streams aren't going to work. And they'll just go back to sending, 264. All of these months we've been waiting for this, and this testing is just because Twitch didn't want to add AV1 ingest to their systems. I mean, Amazon didn't. Like, they couldn't handle this. Like, this is a problem. Like, this is the most convoluted solution to a non-existent problem. Nobody's been able to make it, and all the extra work on behalf of like the OBS team to make this work. They didn't do it for free. Have no illusions. Amazon's like, here's some money, make this happen, which they did. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't expect to be seeing the fruits of this anytime soon. When it does go live, it'll go live. Just get the popcorn out. Anything going to be changing on your end? No. Nothing's going to be changing on my end, Scott. Everything's working. You ever just look at but this is working? I don't have anything that can, I do have one card that can do AV1. I got one card. I have one card that can do an AV1. I don't think I'm going to use it for this. I got that Sporkle. Remember that little guy? That little screechy Doom card? I got that guy. That can do AV1 transcode. Which, it would be fantastic to do just that, though. Because it's low profile, doesn't require extra power. You just, slot it in. But Sporkle decided to make it have a schizophrenic little fan in it.
Yeah.
That goes
noisy as heck.
And just sits there perfectly silent for 3 seconds, then goes then just goes quiet for 3 seconds again. Instead of, this radical idea of why don't you just maintain a consistent low RPM?
Yeah.
To prevent. And they're like, hey guys, don't worry. We'll provide a firmware update. That was 4 months ago. They hadn't done that yet. Yeah. So to answer your question, I would love if Twitch just added an AV1 ingest. Then I would somehow make it make sense to just go buy like a 4070 or something like that. But they're not, and I don't want to play with their convoluted Rube Goldberg mechanism that they have come up with. Like the thing that is going to change how I do shows here is still being worked on in OBS behind the scenes. I mean, in public, but like you wouldn't unless you were following the thread. Is the WebRTC support, peer-to-peer WebRTC, and that's going to get rid of Jitsi and all the other stuff. We're just going to be able to connect directly between OBS instances. It's has the potential to really enhance audio video quality, and like once it gets set up, like there's going to be I think they're going to get cut in the weeds for a lot of stuff, because they're going to try to add a lot of functionality that you would typically see in a WebRTC client like Jitsi. Like if Joe called somebody like using our Jitsi server, like Joe called Strider and they tried to have a conversation, they wouldn't be able to talk to each other. Using this Jitsi server back here, it would just be a echoey, reflecting mess of nonsense. It wouldn't work, because the way that Jitsi server is set up is it needs to be tied into this box before anything makes sense, and all of the niceties that you typically have in like Discord. Like Discord has got a feature that Jill triggers all the time. You know what that is?
What?
It's got a spike mute. So that's Vin words to try to, if the volume spikes, it just kills you. So every time you laugh into that microphone directly, it immediately slams the mute button on you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
nothing comes through. And
is that with everyone?
Jitsi doesn't do it. I got a compressor to handle it over here, a variable rate compressor that handles that on this end. But things like, echo cancellation, high pass filters and all that, I don't want all of that to end up in OBS. Like I want the WebRTC thing to be, you're thinking about like talk shows. What about game streams, right? Let's say we're doing some, like me and Arthurian would be playing, like, I don't know, Orcs Must Die or something, or I want to show Arthurian's screen. I'm like, dude, just send me your screen. He's got OBS open. He's like, boom, I give him my little authentication token. Here's my IP address. Boom, pick it up. Now his screen's on the stream. Just coming direct into me, man. Like, we don't have to do like a convoluted thing of like, oh, you stream and I'll capture your stream and it'll be delayed, or try to use like the Twitch stream together or whatever. No, I was like, no, just send me your game capture. I'm like, done. Let's go. And we do it like that. That's going to be the cool stuff. The AV stuff, AV1 stuff on Twitch is, nah. You can even do AV1 on Discord right now, which is just even more boggling.
Yeah, it is.
It's, and that's where kids stream these days.
Yeah.
Discord, they don't stream on Twitch. They don't stream on YouTube. You don't see any teenagers streaming on Twitch. You don't. Exceptions don't prove the rule. I'm sure you can go find one or two, but they're streaming to their friends on Discord.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna change. All right.
Yeah.
Fun to watch. I'll go transmogrify these bits, and I gotta decide what I'm gonna do next. I want to do an OBS thing or a Blackmagic thing. Blackmagic hardware, not the other type of Blackmagic. My voodoo side hobby is greatly exaggerated. All right, what do you got? You doing anything tonight, Jill? You going to a party? You going to finish off the rest of that whiskey?
Yeah, I might. Getting ready for a wedding this weekend. That's gonna take 2 days. So
it's gonna be a very slow wedding.
No, it's the wedding and the reception. Different days and different parties and whatnot.
All right. So. How much booze does Steve keep stored in the house?
Very little. He just only has wine, really, and he only drinks that like maybe once every few months, if that. Usually the only time he drinks is when if we go out, he'll have a nice, bottle of wine, glass of wine. And occasionally I will have a mixed drink, like maybe twice a year. So, no, we don't drink much. Drink alcohol. Yeah. Yeah, Strider.
Do it, man.
I got wasted at Strider's house one time. Many moons ago. He gave me that gummy worms and vodka drink.
You put enough sugar in it, you'll drink it.
Yeah, I will. And that's the thing is I don't like the flavor. I don't like the taste of alcohol. It's got to be covered with sugar, or not even that. It's just got to be a flavor that covers the drink. Like I like ones that are even more like bitter tasting, like cucumber, violet, and that kind of thing too. As long as I don't taste the alcohol.
I got an activity status. What am I doing? I'm in the zone. I'm gaming. I'm chilling. I'm grubbing.
Yeah, Midori Sours is my favorite though.
That does not. What is this one? I'm wandering IRL. That, generation on internet memes. That's not what that icon means. Watching stuff. Gonna BRB. If you're looking in our Discord, I'm playing with that. I just noticed there's an activity status beta.
Oh
so
yeah, I saw that.
we can I can select a custom activity. What? Oh, hang on. There we go. Okay. There we go. I can do a custom one. I've set my status to YOLOing. Done. All right.
Yeah, I see that. That's funny. Right now I'm YOLOing.
Right now I'm YOLOing. That's how it's done, everybody. All right. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Jordan will be back tomorrow with something. I have no idea what. He's having a good time with Outer Worlds, 7:30.
Yeah, that's a cool game.
You'll usually catch me. If you catch me early, I try to pop in the chat. Give him a hard time for a minute. Till then. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Love you all.